Let's look at some of the projects that you can do with your Arduino MKR WiFi 1010. I'm on the product page in the project hub, and you can see over here on your left there's about 96 projects that have been posted. If you do a project, you can post one in the project hub as well. If we scroll down, we can see that those particular projects have been posted on their blog. Like I said, there's 96 projects that have been posted. There are all different types of projects here. We have GPS with display, water lights. We have projects about boat safety, art robots. We have projects that are about smart plant incubators, monitoring your energy bill. But I wanted to highlight two projects. I wanted to highlight this first one, your environmental data on the Internet of Things cloud. Let's click on this. We look at the particular project on the blog, and it goes through all of the specifications of what was needed for this project and what they did with regard to the project itself and why they needed it. And this was just a fun project that was showcasing how you could read data from different sensors that were available on the environmental shield, and how you could visualize data and widgets that are available in the Arduino Cloud. They use the MKR WiFi 1010 to handle the computation and the communication because of the microcontroller that's on that particular board. This project, after it was put together, was able to show us the particular sketch that they used, which is all of the code that was sent to the boards. Now, when we're looking at this, we can show how they used all of that code, set up a dashboard, and then they were able to monitor the humidity, the pressure, the temperature, even the UVA rays out of the environment itself. A really fun project. Let's look at our second project. I'll go back to the blog itself. And this time I wanted to look at how the cloud was used with the Amazon Alexa. It was an integration. So let's click on that project. Now this project is a little bit more complex in that it used more devices. We can see that they were again using components and supplies. They used the the MKR WiFi 1010. They used the environmental shield again. They used a breadboard and some other components as well. And they used the web editor and the Internet of Things cloud and the Amazon Alexa official Arduino skill. And in this particular project, they were able to turn on their lights, turn off their lights. They were able to do colored lights, and they added something to the lights, which was a temperature setting. They also had a dashboard that they were using. If we scroll down here through the sketches, we can see that they also set it up with the Alexa skill setup. And this is how you're able to use the cloud to control your environment, which in this case are your lights. Very neat project again here, and showcases how you're able to use these particular boards in different ways. Let's create a project in the cloud. The first thing that we will need to do is set up an account in Arduino Cloud Internet of Things. You'll come here to the top right hand corner and you'll either need to sign in or you'll need to sign up. So if you don't have an account, go ahead and pause this video and set up an account. If you do have an account, let's move forward to the next step, and that would be signing in. Once you've logged into your account, you'll be put on this landing page, and you'll have your things, your dashboards, devices, integrations, and templates. And what we're going to do is add a device. So the first thing we need to do is click on devices, and we will come down to the bottom and we will select add device. Now it's important to note that you will need to have your MKR 1010 connected to your computer at this time. So go ahead and click add device, and when you do, you're going to be asked to either set up an Arduino device or a third-party device, and we're going to go with the Arduino. When we set it up, it'll first say it needs to have the device connected to your computer. Once it finds it, it'll then ask you to download a create agent. And this is something that it'll ask you to do the very first time that you set up a device. Once you have this downloaded and installed, you won't need to do this step again. But let's go ahead and click on the download. And again, it's telling you that you're going to look in your download folder, and you're going to see that the file in fact did get installed. Now I have a little drop down from my browser that shows me what's installed, and I also have the ability to open the file there. But let's go ahead and instead of clicking from this particular drop down, let's open up our file explorer. And we'll open that up and go to our downloads folder. And here you'll see that you have that agent, and it's downloaded, and you're gonna go ahead and double click it. When you double click it, the installer should start installing that device for you. You're gonna get a user account control box that's gonna come up asking you if you want to allow this application to make changes to your device. And yes, you do. The changes that you're making is that it's going to be installing this particular bit of software on our computer system. So we'll just follow the wizard and we'll click next that we do in fact want to install the create agent. You'll be confronted with a box asking you if you accept the user agreement, and you'll click yes. You do accept it. Click next again. It's gonna put an installation directory in your users folder. Go ahead and leave that at that particular location and click next again, and then it says it's ready to begin installing, and you'll have to say next again. So go ahead and do that, and we'll see the green status bar letting us know what's happening with the installation. And then it lets you know a security warning is going to pop up that you're about to install a certificate, and you do in fact want to install that. And this is for the cloud. So this is a certificate that's going to authenticate your particular software. So go ahead and say yes. And now it's asking you whether or not you'll want to install this, even though your firewall has blocked it. Now you may or may not get this message. I do get this message. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. But for those of you that are getting this message, you want to say yes, I do want to allow access to this. And you might even get another message as well. If you do, just go ahead and say yes. You do in fact want to install the drivers. And it looks like it's completed. So you'll go ahead and click finish. And then you should be able to either minimize or close your File Explorer. Now that we've installed that, we're being asked if we want to configure our Wi-Fi 1010. It's showing that the device is found, and do we want to go ahead and configure that device? We do, so we'll click configure. And you'll want to give the device a name. It'll pick a name for you. I'm just going to happen to leave the name that it's picked. It looks like it's picked Sarin. So I'm just going to leave that. But if you would like to name that, here's your opportunity to give the device a name. And it'll just go through and it's uploading the sketch right now to your device. Might take a minute or two to do this. It looks like it's on the last step and it's checking the firmware. Now that it's configured, you can just click done. And here you have your device set up, and you can see that my device name is there, Sarin, and my status currently is offline, and I haven't created anything yet. So this was the first step in just getting that device added. Our device has been added. We want to go ahead and create a thing, and we will click on our things at the top, and here it'll ask us if we want to create our first thing, and we say yes, we want to create something. And here we have the ability to add variables on the left, and add our device, add our network, and you'll notice it has a thing ID, which is really nice. It's telling us what ID this is. And this is in our setup tab. We also have a sketch tab. Now we can name our particular thing just by clicking on Untitled. So I'm going to go ahead and name mine Relay and just tab off. And then I'm in my setup tab, and here I'm going to add a device to my thing. And really I'm not adding it per se, I'm associating it. So I'll say select device, and then it'll ask me if I want to associate my Wi-Fi 1010, and I do. So click associate, and now we'll see the details of our device. And the next thing that we want to do is we want to create our variables. So the variables will be synced with the cloud, and as long as the board is connected via internet to the cloud. So let's go ahead and click on add variable. So when we do, we get a box that comes up, and our first variable that we want to create is relay _1. And then we're being asked to select the type. What type of variable is this? And we have different choices here. We could do a basic, light and color, size and motion, time, Alexa compatible. We just want we want it to be a Boolean. So did you see how I selected Boolean on that drop down? I just selected Boolean. You can also do a character. You can do a floating point number or an integer, but we want the Boolean, and we want the read and write, and the update policy, we want it to be on change. So we'll go ahead and click add for that variable, and then we're going to add a second variable, and this will be our relay 2. So go ahead and click add, and we're going to call this relay _2, and we're going to select the type again, and we want the Boolean, we want the read and write, and we want the on change. So go ahead and click add variable, and now you'll see that we have 2 variables here, and now we can configure the network. So come over here and click on configure, and this is where you're going to put in your network details. And I think it's important to note that the order that we did this in. So we added our device, then we added the variables, and then we configured the network. And it's very important that you do it in that order. So I'll let you enter in your network details here. One of the things that was happening that you didn't necessarily see on the Sketch tab, as we were adding these variables, adding the device, and adding the network, a sketch was created for us. So go ahead and click on the Sketch tab. And when we do, we see that we have all of the properties that were being created for our variables. Here we have different code that was added for our relay changes. We have the device that was set up. It went ahead and it created all of this for us. So now what we want to do is we want to hover over the Dashboards tab and go ahead and click on it, and you'll see Build Dashboard, and you want to build that dashboard here. So go ahead and click on Build Dashboard, and when you do, you should get your dashboard to come up. So give it a second. So we'll want to go ahead and click Add, and here we're going to go ahead and add the switch widget. So go ahead and add that, and that's the first thing that we're adding to our dashboard. And we'll go ahead and link it with our relay 1 variable. And how we do that is over here to the right, it says link variable. So we'll click that, and we'll link it to our relay 1. And then when we select it over to the right, we'll click link variable. So that was the first thing that we needed to create. for our widget. I think it'd be a good idea here too to rename our widget. Let's do that. We can double click on it to highlight it, and let's name it relay_1, but this time all caps. And we'll go ahead and say done. Now we're going to repeat that process for our second variable. So we want another switch, so go ahead and add switch, and we'll name this switch relay_2 in all caps again. We'll link our variable, which will be our relay2 variable, and we'll go ahead and link that, and then we'll say done. And so here in our dashboard, we now have 2 switches. This is the start of creating our project in our cloud. Now that we've finished adding to our dashboard, we would test this using a relay shield board, but we don't have a relay shield board, so we can do this demo without it. But what we would need to do is use a multimeter to measure the output voltage on the corresponding digital input-output pins. From here, we want to go back to our things. So let's hover over things and click that. And let's select our relay. And here we want to download the sketch that we've created. So let's click on Sketch, and right under that tab, we are given the opportunity to open a full editor. Now, in previous videos, our editor that we've used has always been on our desktop, but this is the editor that is in the cloud. So go ahead and click Open Full Editor. And when you do, you may get a suggestion for a tutorial. And if you do, you can pause this video and go through the tutorial, or you can just click no thank you. Now once here, this looks very familiar from the editor that is on our desktop. It's named our file for us. It's given the date. It's also given the name. It has a README tab, a things property.h, and a secret. And secret's where our network information goes. So what we want to do is we want to download this particular file to then open in our editor. So here, right next to our device name, there's 3 dots. And when you hover over it, a drop-down menu pops up, and it asks you if you want to download the sketch, and we do. So we're going to go ahead and click Download Sketch, and when we do, it's going to go into our download files, and you can see it's a zip file. So we could either open it here, or we could open it in our File Explorer. So let's do that. So let's open our File Explorer. We see in our download folders, we have the relay, and we see that it is a compressed zip folder. Now, I'm not exactly sure what you have on your machine to extract files. But you can do a right click and you can either open, you can do an extract all, which is what I like to do. And we'll do that. So we'll do an extract all, and it's asking us, where do we want to put this particular folder? Well, we want to put it in our folder that was created for us when we downloaded our IDE. So let's click browse. And after we click browse, let's stay in our local C. We'll click the drop down and we'll go to users, your name for users, and then we'll go to documents. And when we go to documents, we have Arduino, and in there are all of our projects that we've worked on in the past. And we want to go ahead and select that folder for where we unzip this particular folder. And you'll see that this is where the files will be extracted to. And we want to show the files once that was completed. So here we see that we've got a new folder called relay_April 12A. And if we look inside, these are all of the files that came with this particular zip file. So we can go ahead and close our File Explorer, and we're going to go ahead and open our local IDE, and that's the machine, or excuse me, the software that's on our machine. And what we're going to do is we are going to create a binary file from these files that we downloaded from our cloud, from the web. So the first step in doing that, after we've opened our IDE, is we're going to open that relay_April 12A.ino. We could have done this another way. We could have right-clicked on that file and select open, and it would have opened right to that file. So here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to open, and it should bring up our File Explorer, and it opens right to our documents. And we'll double click the relay, and the only thing that's showing is that .ini file, and that is what we want to open. Give it a second. Now, once this file comes up, we are going to use our tool, our sketch. But before we use our sketch, we need to add 2 items to our library. So if you look at all the files that are open, we have the same files that were on the cloud. And let's click on our thing properties.h, and you'll notice that it's including 2 libraries, and those libraries have not been added in our local IDE. So what you'll do is you'll click on your libraries folder and you'll do a search. You'll first search for the Arduino IoT Cloud H, and you'll go ahead and you'll install that. And then you'll do a search for Arduino underscore connect. And when you do that, you'll install your connection handler. So take a second to make sure that those libraries are installed. And once they are, then you'll be able to click back on the relay underscore April12.ino file and go to Sketch, and you'll go ahead and do export compiled binary. Once the file has been compiled, you will get an output notice telling you that the compilation is complete. And we want to go to File Explorer and see that particular file. So open up your File Explorer and you'll go to your C drive, users, your name, then you'll go to Documents, Arduino, you'll go now to your relay, which has other files now. Click that drop down, you'll click Build, and then you'll go into this particular file, Arduino.samd.mkr Wi-Fi 1010. Now in here there's two binary files, and we know that because binary files have a bin extension. We don't want the bootloader. We instead want the very first bin file. That's that relay underscore apr12a.ino.bin. And we are going to put this file in our bulk extractor. Go ahead and open our BEViewer, and when we do, we will see that we have our tools. So we want to go into tools and we want to run bulk extractor. Now we already have a report from last time, so we'll have to remember that when we're naming things. So go ahead and click Run Bulk Extractor. And here we want to do request our required parameters. So the first thing we're going to do is look for that image file. So click on the three dots to the right, and it opens immediately into our Documents folder for Arduino. Double click that. Double click our relay, our build, and remember, we're not going to see any of our files unless we have down at the bottom selected all files. So go ahead and select that and select your bin file at the very top, not the bootloader bin, but the other bin file. Click open, and now we want to select where we're going to put that output. So go ahead and select the three dots to the right of that, and we're back in Arduino, and we'll double click that, double click our relay, and instead of a build, we're going to add a folder. And this folder, we're going to add it through Create New Folder icon. So go ahead and click on that, and we want to create a report folder again, and this time we can just say Report A. And click Select, and we want to make sure that our scanners to the right have all been clicked on, because you never know what's going to be in this binary file, and we want to extract everything. We don't need anything for general options, parameters, parallelism, debugging, or scanner controls. So we can just click Submit Run. And when we do, it'll show us through a new window that it's going ahead and it's scanning everything. And it also put another folder on the left-hand side. So let's click done, and let's open report A. So go ahead and open that up, and it created a word list for us. And this is where we can then examine the contents of this particular file. Now here in the middle column, we have every single row, and in the word list.txt, and we can do a search if we want to search for something specifically. And when we click on something, you'll see that it will display then in the right side. And we have a couple options here. We can either do hex search or a text, and the text is going to look for whatever we had put in the feature filter. So for instance, let's say we put pass, and nothing comes up for pass, but if we put SSID, nothing comes up for that. We can just search on all kinds of different keywords to help us figure out what's in this particular file. So that's examining the bin file in bulk extractor. We can go ahead and close that, and we can close our file explorer. We can close our IDE, and everything's been saved that's on the web, so we can go ahead and close that as well. So thank you for watching. All the links are in the description.